Hi, welcome back to St Blazy Model World. I'm Roger. In the time that I've had my YouTube channel, I have been asked hundreds of questions and I thought it was a good time to address some of those. Firstly, do I have a shop? No, I don't. Everything I do is done at home, and some of it is commission work and some of it is done for my own pleasure, or to suggest to people how they can utilise their model making skills in order to create their own projects. Second one is, where do I live? I live in the southwest corner of the UK in the county of Cornwall. I'm very lucky in that not far away from where I live we have St Blazy TMD traction motor depot and a working turntable which still exists, as does the roundhouse, although the roundhouse is now occupied by separate businesses, and we have a lovely little local railway station called PAR, P-A-R, and that's where the Paddington to Penzance line exists, and on that line at PAR you can join the branch line to Newquay. What got me into the hobby? Well, when I was about 4 or 5, I can't remember now, my father had he came home with some Hornby setrack. It would have been setrack back then because I don't think FlexiTrack was around. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And we had a little jinty loco, which I've still got. It's outside. And a few wagons, and we eventually acquired a couple of sets of points, and that's really what got me into the hobby. I was always fascinated with a world in miniature, and as part of that my love of model villages developed as well. And if you're watching this from outside of the UK, I'm not sure if you have model villages, but I hope you do, because that's really what got me into the world of miniature scale model making. Absolutely fascinated, and I've been obsessed with it really ever since, in one form or another, at different scales, at different levels, obviously at different price points, and price point is a hot topic right now, I appreciate that, but yeah, that's what it's, that's where it all started for me. Another question I get asked a lot is, do I get paid for what I do? Sometimes. Some of the work I do is commission work. Some of it I do for people who are not able excuse me, some of it I do for people who are not able to afford the items that they're choosing, and I do that free of charge, just out of generosity. I am actually blessed and really lucky in that I don't need to work full time anymore. But do I get paid? Yeah, some of it I do, some I don't. There's two schools of thought on that. Some will say, great, you get paid for your hobby, fabulous. Others would say, your hobby is gone now because it's just more work. And that's the way of the world, isn't it? You take your view, pay your money, take your choice. I've always counted myself very lucky that I am involved in this hobby to a reasonable level, even though many people might not have heard of me, and it's been fabulous. So what have I done? That's another question I get asked. Well, I've built dioramas for exhibitions and museums, some of which are still in place. I'm not going to go into details, obviously. That's a private matter as far as I'm concerned. And when I do undertake work as a commission, I do try to keep those relationships private, purely out of respect. Do I own a model railway myself? Yes, I do. I've actually got two, one in N gauge and one in 00 gauge. The N gauge layout is one that I have featured on my channel from time to time, but not a lot. My 00 gauge layout, that remains private, and that's sort of me hanging on to my little part of the hobby, really. I don't really want to make everything public, because well, otherwise again it just becomes more work, doesn't it? And it's important to have a hobby. Another question that I get asked a lot is, what aspects of model making, scale model making, am I into? Well, pretty much everything really. Up until recently I had a couple of Tamiya 1/14 scale remote control trucks. They're both gone now, only because I really didn't have the time to use them, and that's a shame, you know, when you've built something and you can't really get to enjoy it. So they've moved on. I have in the loft here where I lived, my collection of 1/76 scale, or no, actually they're 1/72 scale, because they're mostly Airfix tanks, World War II vehicles, from both the Allies and the Axis side, currently painted in a desert livery, and hopefully one day I'll be able to do a video about those as well, because they really are lovely models, and a lot of those models I built together with my father, so they really do have a special place in my heart. What that kind of brings me on to the next question: what's it like running a YouTube channel? Demanding. I am lucky in that I have over 1,000 subscribers. I saw recently on YouTube that fewer than 10% of the YouTube channels worldwide have 1,000 subscribers. You know, it's quite a high milestone to hit. And the more you progress with YouTube, the more it sort of drives your life, and you want to, or you feel under pressure to make videos. And I don't post very often, and it's quite probable that my postings will become fewer. I don't post regularly, you know, 5 p.m. on every Tuesday, or every couple of weeks on a Tuesday. I don't do that. I try to post videos when I have something to say, when I have a concept that I think is worthwhile. And my most recent one was a restaurant car for a heritage railway. Here in the UK, lots of heritage railways have rolling stock that either is repurposed, such as a restaurant car, or they have rolling stock that is still awaiting restoration to some level. And that concept sort of bit me recently, and hence the reason for that video. If you haven't seen that video, you'll find a link to it up there somewhere. I'm not the best YouTuber around. I never said I was, and I never will be. I'm too old now. Do I get satisfaction from YouTube? That's another question I get asked a lot. Yes, I do. It is nice to know that I have maybe helped or influenced people to think a little bit laterally, and sort of, I guess, out of the box is a modern phrase, but it isn't actually about that. I don't really go for trendy stuff. You've only got to take one look at me and my hairstyle and the way I dress, and yeah, you'll know I don't do trendy. But if I can divert one young person from their mobile phone towards a hobby that has given me so much pleasure over so many years, yes, it's worth it. Of course it is. I'd like to actually end this video by thanking not just the subscribers. I do appreciate you all. I honestly do. It's heartwarming to know you follow me, and I'm always greatly received when I comment on another video from another channel, or I join a live stream, and I really do appreciate that. But what's more important to me is that people turn up to watch what I produce, and it isn't always your bag. You know, if you're into model buses, sometimes the video is about trains. I really do want to make some videos about those Airfix and Matchbox tank kits and World War II kits, because that's a fascinating subject, and it was one of the first dioramas actually that I got paid for to build, because I used to do a lot of work for wargaming clubs and building those people dioramas that they could play their war games on, and I have a deep history in that, so it sort of got lost a little bit in the trend of model railways, but I want to get back to some of that stuff, and you will see it, I promise you. It is going to come up soon. I realise also that I lose a few when I'm not concentrated on one area or one topic of scale model making in the way that other channels do, and they do some great stuff. There is no getting away from it. I don't think it's a massive secret that I'm a friend of many successful YouTubers who will be far more successful than I ever will be. That's fine as well. All I'm trying to do is spread the word, encourage people to think out of the box just a tiny bit with a concept about where your scale model making can take you. And if I do all that before I pass away, then that would be fabulous. Just on that note, I'm not in any immediate danger of passing away, please don't panic, but I also remember the YouTubers that I used to talk to, and sadly we have lost many, and that poignant ending seems to be a good place to end this message. Don't leave it until tomorrow. Tomorrow may never come. If you have an inkling or a desire to get involved in the wonderful world of scale model making, do it now, do it as soon as you can, or do it as soon as you can afford to. It is an expensive hobby, but it doesn't have to be that way. You know, get a second-hand product from a well-known internet auction site, get a second-hand kit from your local car boot or flea market or whatever these things are called around the world. Get involved. You really will enjoy it, and I hope it brings you as many years of pleasure as it has brought me. That's it for this one. Take care. We'll see you next time on St Blazing Model World. I've been Roger. Thank you for your time, your support, your love, your comments, everything else that you bring. Really appreciated. Bye bye for now. Bye bye.